Hi, welcome to Queer Buttons on YouTube. Okay, so today I wanted to talk about the subject of Transamerica and their importance in the LGBTQ community. I completely understand where most trans people are coming from when it comes to being uncomfortable in your own body, in your own gender, in your own mind, in your own sexuality. I get it. I know exactly how that feels. For a few years, actually, and I have only been out since I was about 17. I'm 21 now. I've not been out very long, and coming out as a lesbian was hard enough, and I've not fully come out to all of my friends as a genderqueer person. I just feel like I have come to a point in my life where I'm just comfortable in my androgyny. Some days I want to look like a girl. Some days I want to look like a boy. Some days I just don't care. But when it comes to the transgender community specifically, I understand that it's a lot. It's a lot further than that. It's a big step further. I get it. But I guess where this is coming from is the other day I met this now transgender male, it is a trans man, used previously a female, who was a very nice person, very smart, excellent conversationalist. When I first met them, I was in a bar. I had been drinking. And I approached him first thinking and not knowing that this was a lesbian female. I was sure of it at the time. And even in a sober mind state, he still has a feminine face. He's been on TV for a few months. He sounds different. He obviously shows more of the results of being on TV for as long as he's been. And the expectation is where I have the issue, is the expectation of others to completely and fully understand who you are and where you're coming from as a trans person. First of all, we live in the Midwest. There are not a lot of trans people in the gay community here. There really aren't. And I've met and had friends that were transgender, and I knew them after the transition. So it was very easy for me to always use the proper pronoun. It was always very easy for me to address that person the way they wanted to be addressed, to look at that person the way they wanted to be looked at, and to understand that person. But I also have my best friend, actually. I'm still making the transition with her, is she just very recently came out as a trans person, as a trans man. And so now I am transitioning with her to go from calling him a her to calling him a him. It's it's hard sometimes, especially when you meet the person before they are who they want to become. You know what I mean? Because when I met him, he was like my doppelganger. And coincidentally, I was the first person, apparently, to introduce him to the whole idea of being genderqueer, the whole world of being transgender. And I feel like as a lesbian in the community, I know a lot more about the trans community than any other lesbian that I'm friends with. Like, I feel like I should be the last person to be considered an asshole or a jerk for using the wrong pronouns with somebody I barely know. Because with my best friend, who is a trans male now, I love that he is now comfortable in his own sexuality and his own body and mindset. And it's fantastic. I feel like he's going to grow much more as a person living as a male. And I find this to be true with most other trans people that I meet, or most of the trans people that I follow on YouTube. They just are happier in general. I'm completely supportive of the idea, and I will absolutely help spread the awareness and help stop the ignorance. But for someone in the trans community to look at me and think that I am an ignorant person because I make this simple mistake is unfair. And I feel that, as a whole, the transgender community not only needs to make awareness known to those that are not allies, or those that just aren't hip to it, you know, help get the word out, help, express yourself the way you want to be expressed, but don't hold it against those that are there for you when they make a simple mistake. This person that I met at the bar is incredibly touchy about pronouns. And I understand it's a very, very important part of being a trans person. I realize that. But it goes back to the expectation. You can't just say it once and expect it to stick. That is not the way the human mind works. And I hung out with this person yesterday, and I used the pronoun she twice, 2 times, out of the full 3 hours that we hung out, twice. And he proceeded to tell me that I was inconsiderate, that I was rude, that I made him feel uncomfortable, and I forced him to leave because of how strange he felt, based on 2 mistakes. The word she, twice. And everyone else in the room was a straight male, and there was 1 straight female. They are all just as understanding as I am of this situation, and they are all just as accepting. And none of them noticed either. And if they had, they hadn't commented on it, neither when the person was here nor when they left. So I guess my point is, it's never as big a deal to everyone else as it is to you. In general, not just addressing the transgender community or the gay community or the straight community, just people as a whole. This is Psychology 101. People, it is human nature to think that everyone in a room is thinking something about you, when really the reality is that everyone in the room is thinking that everyone else in the room is thinking something about them, when really everyone's thoughts are more occupied by their own perception of the possibility of being judged than the actual judgment that is virtually non-existent. And I feel that to be angered by an honest mistake is the wrong way to go. To express that anger in such an unfriendly and just incredibly forthcoming way is it's not okay. It's not going to help people understand. It's not going to help people correct themselves. Because what I found with, especially with myself and especially with straight male friends that I have, being that most of my friends are males, are straight males, and I am a lesbian that just kicks it with them all the time, that you can't always get upset about it. You really can't. There's no moving forward if you're always getting upset. Because what I found is when you get angry, people get nervous, and when people get nervous, they're more aware of their mistakes, and they tend to repeat their mistakes because they think about it too much subconsciously. But if you let it slide, you address it once. Hey, you use the wrong pronoun. We want to, hook it up with the right one anytime soon. Make it comfortable for that person to be aware of it. Don't chastise them, is my point. Because in the end, I am an ally. Everyone else in this room is an ally. And you shouldn't have to feel that someone is attacking you when that's not the case. I myself am incredibly attracted to female to male transgender people. Like I love it. I love the androgyny. I love the masculinity of the previously feminine body. For some reason, I find it fascinating. And I am the last person on this earth to ever purposely offend somebody in my own community, I guess is my only point. Um, and I want to spread the awareness to the rest of the gay community, the rest of the transgender community, that we're all, to be cheesy as we can get, we're all in this together. We are all fighting for the same thing: equality, awareness, and a lack of ignorance. And you have to understand that ignorance is everywhere. And even you have to let go of the subtleties. You have to pick your battles. You can't make a big deal out of small apples. That's it. That's it. I love it. I love you. I love you all. I love gay people. I love lesbians. I love gender queers. I love transgenders. I love everything in between. Everything. It's your choice to be who you are, and you should live how you want to live. That's it. But don't hold it against me. That's all I ask.